Hello, friends. I was just reading a story, and I was thinking about how great it is when stories have pictures with them so that they can help us know what's going on. At church, we are going to be having a special worship on Good Friday where you kiddos help us tell the story of Jesus and his life-saving work for us. We would like you to draw pictures to help us tell the story through our worship. What you will do is I'm going to tell you these stories, and then you can draw your picture. Then you'll have a parent take a picture with their phone of your artwork and send it to us. So what you could do right now is go get your crayons or your markers or your watercolors or whatever you want, and then I'll tell you the stories and you can draw them as we're going, or you can draw them later, whatever you want. So we're going to draw stories from Jesus' life. So Jesus is God's Son and our Savior, and he goes around teaching and healing people. And there are times when Jesus helps people feel better when they're sick. He helps people get clean from their sicknesses that might be rashes or something that's called leprosy. He makes them all better. And Jesus also helps a blind man see again. That's pretty cool. You could draw that. Jesus also teaches people and helps them and teaches them to pray. And he teaches lots of people. There's one story where Jesus is talking to a crowd, but it's getting late and people are getting hungry. But there's a lot of people, and they only have a couple of fish and a little bit of bread. But then Jesus turns this little bit of food into a huge amount of food and feeds 5,000 people. That's a lot. You could draw a fish or bread or whatever you want about how Jesus feeds people. Jesus also spends time with his disciples having a special meal that we call the Last Supper. So Jesus and his disciples are getting ready to celebrate a holiday called Passover. And the disciples are supposed to find a person carrying a jug of water that will take them to an upstairs room where the disciples could have their special party. And while the 12 disciples and Jesus are there, Jesus does something special, and he takes bread and breaks it and then gives it to them and says that when they eat bread, they should remember how Jesus gave his body and his life and everything he had to help us live and love each other. So they shared bread together. And then Jesus also took a cup of wine and shared it with them to remember that Jesus is with us always. And we do this at communion. So that's what happens at this table that Jesus shares with his disciples. Then after that, when they're done eating and drinking and singing together, they go out to a garden where Jesus prays. And he tells the disciples that they're supposed to stay awake and wait for him while he's praying, but they fall asleep. And then Jesus finds them sleeping, and then it's time for them to go because Jesus is about to go through the time on the cross and die so he can rise again. So you've got lots of things you could draw. Jesus healing people or feeding people or praying in a garden. I hope that you enjoy making your artwork, and I can't wait to see your creations.